into this bike and we will get started on our workout. Feel free to say what's up in chat and all this other stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and turn messages on my side. And yeah. Let's go. All right. We're just gonna start with a little warm up. Get all the bugs, shake the bugs off and all that stuff. Want to make sure we're getting down, we're keeping that platform with our feet. You know, our heels are helping us rise up a little bit, and we're not afraid to get sort of that mid-foot on the bike, or if we're walking or running, that sort of mid-foot and forefoot is helping propel us forward and engage that whole sort of leg lever. But we're just getting warmed up, folks. We are just getting started, folks. Get that chest opened up a little bit. Not that big of a deal. A little bit of that looseness and relaxed, you know, to allow our muscles and the way we're spinning to be the thing that moves our body. So just really nice and light. Really nice and light is a good way to do this. Don't be afraid to get some of those static holds. But if I spin, my hands are up here, I can see my body's naturally going to move a little bit of this way. Just a little bit this way, right? All right, we're gonna increase the RPMs for just a minute here. I'm feeling a little cool in my arms, so I'm gonna get this block in, and we're gonna get just a little bit of weightlifting in. I'll flip the camera over. Y'all can see my trash can. See that big old dumper going still. Let's go. Muscle activation, those faster reps. Doesn't matter if we're doing like wrestling, boxing, if we're doing weightlifting, football, soccer style movements. Those faster reps help us activate our muscles a little bit. I like that. Make sure we're not neglecting our feet, our arms, shoulders, getting everything we can. Let's go. You get that power through the full bike. If you guys are cyclists, you know, we are on the cycling machine here. It is not on us. We are on the machine. It is not on us. And so the way I see it is I want to, even if I'm in my seat, I want to be able to stay light, nice and light on the bars. I don't want to get hurt. But I can set back a little bit. I can set back. I can try and focus on getting my chest a little bit open. And get that power all the way through the front of the bike. Without trying to bite off too much at once, right? You know, for anyone that runs or whatever it is, if you guys are runners or whatever, hey, what's up? Fabulous man at Pillow Doom. Millie McAdam. Yeah, Millie McAdam knows the pain cave, folks. Yeah, you can see we're not trying to be too aesthetic or anything like that. But I don't know if we were supposed to. But we're just gonna get some arms. But what was I saying? Yeah, we can try to bite off too much really often if we are focusing on. Yeah, we can bite off way too much if we're listening to music or something like that. You know, if we had our pre-workout, we had our pre-workout bagel, all this other stuff. And so, you know, who knows? You know, I'm pretty sweaty, so I'm for sure working right now. It's also the case that, like, yeah. So let's just get some of our upper body and stuff warmed up just a little bit. Same principle. We're gonna let the sort of contraction move our body. just if you find your own little pain cave or whatever it is, you know, it's okay to just sit there and get like 5 seconds, 10 seconds in that little pain zone. Even if it's uncomfortable to get the sort of base workout in. Even if it's uncomfortable to get that sort of base workout in. Hey, what's up, Annalise Smallman? Not that much. Just getting a little warm up in. We'll get some kickbacks going. And we'll hop back on the bike. All right. What's up, Jay? Good to see you. Good to see you, homie. Heavy lifts, let's go. Yeah, like I said, we want to be able to let our body move the way our body's supposed to move. So, that's a good way to go, I guess. Let that cardio sort of lift you from the bottom of that workout. What are you actually going to get done here? Make sure we're sitting back into our hips a little bit. That nice wide grip. We want to power in. I'm not doing that today, but if you guys are working on that, you know, if you guys get into like those push-ups or something like that, or those presses, bam, bam, you know. We're gonna work on getting those rotations. Like I said before, you know, if I just pedal without trying too hard, making sure I got good contact, you can see my body moves a little bit. I can exaggerate it a little bit. I can exaggerate that a little bit, folks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the resistance here just a little bit even. I'm going to get those pedal strokes in. We're going to work on getting that sort of full body going with it. Let's go, folks. Gonna work on creating that tension from our grip just a little bit. Take a step back real quick. Little bubblegum pop music, folks. Let's go, baby. Feeling pretty good. We're gonna let our tension, let our sort of core, our hips, the sort of outsides of our glutes. We want to be able to, if I turn the resistance up, maybe not that much. Oh my God. That's how hard we're going, folks. But not that hard. But if I'm sitting here and I'm generating that initial pedal stroke, that initial tension, we want to make sure we're getting to the outside of where we can create that tension and drop it out. We want to be able to use it, make it sharp but not that sharp, you know. What's that like, you know? So we're still going to try and get that whole chest up without fixing our posture overnight, our core. We're not trying to get too overwhelming. We're just getting some work in. Let's get some really hard work. We'll get a decent effort in and then we'll go back to the weights for a second. All right, that's kind of nice. Into those bones and all that stuff. Let's go. Let's go, baby. All right, that's kind of nice. All right, a little bit of that rotation with our back. So you can see I'll keep the weight like this. And this is gonna be our biceps and our back, grounded into our heels. And just not too hard, right? We don't need to lift heavier weights. All right. Just a little bit, just a little bit. If you guys are looking at that and thinking, oh, those weights aren't that heavy or you should be tired, whatever, your opinion's right. Your opinion's right. If you're thinking you should be skinnier, you're probably right. If you're thinking you could probably put on 40 or 50 pounds, you're probably also right. So, we're gonna get this one up from the floor. We're gonna get our feet on the pedals. Have that platform for our heels, for our forefoots, for our toes. We're not gonna try and overstress it, but we're gonna make sure on this cycling workout, I'm gonna insist we're not getting left behind, so I can feel confident about a recovery meal or whatever it is in a little bit. All right, let's go. All right. That ankle flexion, hip flexion, shoulders back, spine rotation, all these big words. Throw out every big word in the exercise vocabulary, you know. Throw them out so you can set them down and just focus on the fucking work. wimp out so we can get our last 5 or 10 minutes in here. Get our hips and our tailbone and stuff over that seat. Our hip bone and all this other stuff. Last 5 minutes, folks. Last 5 minutes of that workout. What do you think? What do you think, folks? Nice and light. I don't care that much. All the way up here, top of the glutes, getting that hard motion all the way through and stuff like that. We ain't that worried about it. We ain't that worried about it, folks. I need it all now. I need it all after a little passive and active recovery. Whatever. Liver King? Nah. Vegan. We on some vegan stuff, boys. Boys, girls, folks. You know, with our shoulders and stuff, here, I got you guys. With our shoulders and stuff, something I recommend, again, talk to your own personal trainer, but, you know, if we have a hard to reach position, like, you know, I know pulling back here, kind of tough, going the other way, kind of tough, you know, just, you know, without getting into intentionally under leveraged or injury prone positions, just spend like a second or two under there, right? Your body gets that information. And so, you know, without being based, be a little based about how you guys do your workouts. Hey, what's up, Russ? Hey, what's up, Brad? I don't know. I like Aloe Black. I like BB King and Eric Clapton's work. I like John Mayer a lot. I used to like Colby Calais, Bubbly. All that stuff, guys. All that stuff. Let me take you guys, show you guys I'm a man. I got a tool bench and shit like that. Stuff like that, right? Thanks for hanging out, guys. I know that was kind of an abrupt end, but I want to a little bit be able to think about going for a run or something later. So sorry, I probably won't take you guys with me on that today. We might do, if anyone wants to, if you guys like hanging out for fitness or politics, feel free to tap that white like button at the top. Sorry. When I'm inside, when we do politics, philosophy streams, I try to get to a few more of your messages than usual. But yeah, out in the garage with the spin setup, you know, maybe at some point I'll put a PC or something out here, but that's expensive. It's a huge commitment. You guys know how that is, you know, investing time and money into stuff, you know, investing energy and resources into those types of choices. So, you know, just before or after your guys' workouts, you know, kind of thinking through diet, kind of your shopping plans for the week. You know, if you're like hippie Greta Thunberg vegan like me, you know, you don't have to look perfect, don't have to be perfect. But yeah, those energy consumption choices I always felt carried over to my workout. And yeah, feel free to, if you guys want, feel free to tap that subscribe and like button. And, you know, for some of you guys that I've either seen on my streams or you guys are already a subscriber, I'll see you guys back inside for one of those sort of politics streams. Yeah, right now Fox News is the craziest news outlet in the world. They're talking like these National Guard guys that are out are heroes when nobody has any idea how they're enforcing the law or what happens when it goes wrong. So I want to talk about that. Just his social commentary. I want to touch on the Raha situation a little bit. Yeah, you know, so, you know, there's not like a rule book or a law book for MMA fighters and influencers outside of the ring. It's not like that's written in a theoretical sense. So, you know, obviously trying to be non-judgmental. And, you know, we saw on camera, you know, Raha Jackson, like really lay into this guy in an inappropriate situation or scenario, right? The situation wasn't good. The sort of scenario is sort of messed up. And so, you know, no offense to folks, you know, I'm just some sort of slightly chubby guy sitting in my garage, but yeah. Hey, thanks, Ivan. Thanks, Ivan. Those Western media. Yeah, you know, we're trying to get it all reeled in, you know. You know, a lot of people would rather say, hey, like, look, I'd rather have like a pro level training session like at the gym with an MMA guy. You know, I don't want to see on social media. I don't want to see this crap. You know, when I'm going shopping for groceries, I don't want to see this crap, right? Like I can control and create my own environment a little bit. And, you know, we kind of figure that stuff out. You know, I don't want to see these fakers on social media they've never trained MMA, and they've never trained to be peaceful. You know, they've never explored philosophy, spirituality, religion, or philosophy before. And so like, I don't want to see that fake stuff. And like right now, the Western media is very much saying like, hey, you know, all the ideas are the same, right? Every idea is the same. Every way of being is the same, you know, as long as we're putting it on TV. And so that's kind of upsetting, you know, to me, like sort of the type or like sort of the classification sort of sense of how things are is like, well, you guys could be being a lot more responsible than you are right now. Hey, what's up? Triple X 89.8. What's up, bro? Oh, hey, Liver King. Oh, hey, Triple X, 9X, 898. How you doing, mate? Good, good. I hope you're doing well. And that's the other thing, you know, I see all these 2A guys, and no offense, I see all these 2A guys, right? You know, these 2A guys that are suddenly commentating on MMA, these 2A guys that say, oh, I have a black belt, so now I'm qualified to manage every situation. It's like, yeah, you know, that makes you a scary dude, but a scary dude is useful in scary dude scenarios or situations. You know, if you don't accept that you have a trump card, meaning being a nice person, or you don't have a trump card being able to say no, you don't have a trump card being able to say no way. Like if you don't have those trump cards and you're a 2A guy commenting on like the Raja Jackson situation, no offense, but to me that is like, you know, that's like baby Donald Trump behavior. You know, it's not quite where I want to be with it. And so, yeah. And, you know, guys come in saying, well, you got to prove yourself by having a 2A card, or, you know, you got to prove yourself, you know, what unit, or, you know, what division of the military, or what Leos do you have in your family, or, you know, what politicians did you vote for? It's like, well, none of that actually makes any sense. You know, when you see you see a person getting in fights, you see young people on social media condoning violent behaviors and actions, and you're saying, well, I don't know what to do with it. You know, it's like Joker from Batman. How do we get out of it? You know, what do we do next? You know, and it's like, yeah, no offense, you know, I did Eddie Eagle. I'm not like not a gun nut, right? I'm like not even a 2A guy. You know, I might as well be Northern European in those senses, like with those faculties, you know? So no offense to folks, but, you know, so, you know, that kind of stuff makes me a little bit worried, because it's like, yeah, you know, all we do is we put a complex or difficult situation in front of people, and all of a sudden, it's better that they're not in that room than if they were in that room, right? I don't know what you were talking about, but I'm using this to practice my English listening. Cool. Yeah. And so, you know, if we're assigning or delegating, if we're trying to sort of compare how people respond to a situation, right? Another way of sort of saying this is like, you know, we want to see who is the right opinion. We want to see who is the most sort of practical, practical thinker to keep people safe. We want to see who can understand what the world is like, where it sort of starts and finishes. I don't know. And so, you know, one of the things, you know, it's just difficult. I get upset anytime I step onto social media and I see that people are unwilling to stand up for just integrity and ethics. We can't just say this was something that was deeply immoral. We can't just say it's almost impossible to know what started it or where it came from. And we can't just say, well, that's the scenario or situation that happened, right? If you're a trained fighter, if you are watching content on social media, you should never be the one that is pushing for violence. You should never be the one that is pushing for things to be worse than they have to be. You know what you did 27 February 2006? I know what you did. Hey, what's up, Adrian Zuniga? Good to see you. What the quack? Hey, what's up, other duck person name? Hey, what's up, Winnie Soli? Yeah, on 27 February 2006, I would have been a junior in high school, I think. A junior, yeah, that would have been the second half of my junior year of high school. So I probably went to Taco Bell. Just to be completely honest, I'm not gonna lie. Taco Bell was very valid when I was in high school. One of the most valid things you could do. And not only was Taco Bell valid, but I was also, I was taking some cool classes and stuff. I wasn't wrestling that year. I wasn't doing sports competitively. I would have been starting to work out more consistently my junior year. I maybe was working at this Mexican restaurant. So that's what I was doing in 2006. Working all that kind of stuff. I don't know if that was trying to gaslight me or make conversation, but yeah. Hey, I'm from São Paulo City in Brazil. Hey, cool, what's up? My one of my girlfriends in my first year in high school, she was Brazilian, so her and her mom spoke Portuguese. So that's cool. But cheers to you in Brazil. Cheers to you in Brazil. It's good to see you and all that other stuff. Yeah. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Yeah, and so, this US news situation, I think it illustrates that on social media, even out in society, people in the United States have gotten really rude, right? I don't want to say we've gotten nationalist, extremist. What I would say is that people have gotten incredibly rude, and they don't consider other people's feelings, they don't consider relationships, and they don't consider how to just go out and work hard in those situations. I don't mean to be also being rude and saying nobody's doing this, but honestly, okay, so you be me for a second. You be me and you see this MMA fighter and you're like, okay, cool. I don't know who this guy is. I wouldn't want to fight him because he's a trained fighter, right? If I knew him or somebody vouched for the guy, maybe I would spar with him or something. I could take a 45-minute class or something and we could practice. I see this guy, the same guy, and he's saying that, he's got to get in this fight, and people online are encouraging it, or it's only right? People go listen to a talk show for 45 minutes, and after their favorite influencer says, this was unacceptable, this crossed the line, then people are talking about it. So to me, that's very rude. It's very rude and it's very unethical. I saw a giant trained fighter ready for weigh-ins, who beat the crap out of somebody. And so 10 times out of 10, I'm gonna say that was not an MMA fighter. That was not a trained fighter in control. And I'm gonna end it there, right? And then if the story has another place to go, then the story's got another place to go. But I'm not gonna sit there, right? We see guys like Asmongold, Destiny, Hassan, all these people have to have opinions. These are people that laugh when homeless people get punched in the face. These are people that laugh at homeless people when they get punched in the face. And so I'm not into that slop content or Panelverse stuff, right? If you guys know me, I'm not really big into that kind of slop, that sort of, lolcow stuff, because I don't think it's funny at all. I don't think it's funny. And so my social acumen, I'm going to be honest, I'm an idiot. I'm dumb. I don't have that much social acumen, but I also know that I'm not going to laugh at a homeless dude getting punched in the face because somebody says they can. Hey, what's up, Noah? What's up, Poop Detective? What's up, Milik? Too much blow, my man. Yeah, Poop Detective sounds like he's got a really based fucking sort of storyline on this. Too much blow. That's not what I'm talking about, right? I don't see how that relates, Poop Detective being completely no shot with you. I just said people are rude. I said people need to go to for social validation, and that's inappropriate, right? I was just talking about how even me, with my own limited MMA and sort of martial arts background, my own limited background, I think those people are rude. So you say too much blow and I say what? I don't know what that means. No offense. I'm not saying be judgmental. I'm saying, have common sense and then leave it to be judged, lest we be judged or something. And yeah, and so, I don't want to keep everyone for too long. Just to kind of summarize our spin workout, we're not trying to take too much away from having EDM and dance music and stuff going on, right? You guys can see this guy looks kind of nasty. No offense. If you guys think that or you guys say stuff like that, that's cool. I don't mind. You guys can be rude to me. That's part of what this streaming thing is. I guess I'm a lolcow. But yeah, don't take too much of that sort of bright artificial stuff away. But also don't pretend like that stuff's all fake, guys. Don't pretend like having a little dance music or, having a Snickers bar, candy bar, having some good food, some good entertainment is a bad thing for a workout, and spend some time, in the military. I think people say touch grass. I wouldn't say that, right? But, kind of trust your body a little bit and yeah, have some healthy food for your workout. Be healthy, be polite. And so I'm going to close the stream. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you guys want to hit the subscribe or like button, I'll see you guys again. If not, yeah, I'll see you all on your way, and have a good day. Take care. Duck out.